is another video, and people, I've promised you that I would make a video on the 1824 election, so here you go. So, before we get into the actual election, we should talk a little bit about the background. So, James Monroe had been president for 8 years, very good 8 years, known as the era of good feelings now. And the Federalist Party had effectively gone away at the time because James Monroe was so popular. He got 80% of the popular vote, every electoral vote but one in the 1820 election. So the only party left really was the Democratic Republicans. And there were 4 major candidates that could have won. There were, I believe, 2 more, but they weren't as important. So there was Andrew Jackson, who he rose in popularity because he was a man of the, quote, common people, because he grew up poor, and up until this election, only the rich people could vote, but by now, states had gotten rid of those, so they were able to vote. So poor white men were able to vote, still not that good, but poor white men were able to vote, and then Andrew Jackson was very popular among them. John Quincy Adams, he was the son of John Adams and Secretary of State to James Monroe. He was, he had the right last name, and he drafted portions of the Monroe Doctrine, which is saying, like, don't mess with America. William Crawford, I don't know much about, but he existed. And Henry Clay, he was the Speaker of the House. He was the mastermind behind the Missouri Compromise, which was a thing at this time. As you can see, Missouri is a state. Watch my other video to see about the Missouri Compromise. But he was Speaker of the House and the Senator, so he was pretty influential. So then the results come in, and Andrew Jackson won 99 electoral votes and 40% of the popular vote, compared to John Quincy Adams' 84 electoral votes and 39% of the popular vote. So Andrew Jackson probably should have won because he got more popular votes and electoral votes, but he didn't get a majority needed, and that's what you need to win. So they took it to Congress, and the top 3 candidates are considered. So Jackson, Adams, and Crawford were considered. Henry Clay only got 37 votes, and Crawford got 41. So they took it to the House, and remember, Henry Clay was Speaker of the House, so he was very influential at the time. And he really, really hated Jackson. So he told all of his fellow congressmen, vote for John Quincy Adams. And so then they did. And later they found out that Adams and Clay made a deal where if Clay told everyone vote for Adams, then Clay would actually become the Secretary of State. This later became known as the corrupt bargain, and then John Quincy Adams obviously won in Congress, making him the 6th president, not Jackson. So definitely very corrupt. Jackson should have won. Doesn't make him a good president, but he probably should have won. But I just want to mention this thing. People are saying how this is a corrupt bargain. 2 years ago, who was Pete Buttigieg? He was some, nobody. Then he became a possible Democratic Party nominee for President of the United States. But now, is he back to but who did he endorse? He endorsed Biden. He endorsed Biden, so he threw his support to Biden. And then you know what? And guess what position he holds now? He's the Secretary of Transportation. Something very similar happened, that's similar to the, quote, corrupt bargain that Clay and Adams made. Just thought I'd bring that up. So this is probably my favorite election to look at because of how intense it was, how close it was, and how Jackson won both the popular and electoral vote, but Quincy Adams still won.